Before you set any more goals for January, I want you to listen to this. Welcome back to the Nicola Graham podcast and Happy New Year, ladies. Can we believe that Christmas has already been and gone and we are now officially in 2026? New year, new month. I'm going to talk on the overwhelm that comes with that. Some of you will be listening to this already starting to feel the overwhelm. I know that week between Christmas and New Year was very overwhelming on social media. Lots of top ways to do this, things to ditch, things to start, new recipes, new workouts, top tips, all of the above. And it honestly, I cannot imagine. For myself as a coach, I needed to just step away, mute, like too much going on, too much information, taking me out of this moment, this moment that I've promised myself I'm going to be present and I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to relax and I'm going to recharge. And a lot of what I see on social media and the people that I follow, it was information overload. And honestly, we don't need more information, ladies. We need to get clear and then we need to execute. The information is abundant. We've got more than we can manage. So I can't even imagine the overwhelm for those of you who felt out of sorts or maybe haven't started on a fitness journey yet. And you are consuming all of this information and a lot of it is conflicting, and it is honestly it's going to pull you out of this present moment. And some of you listening might still be in holiday mode, and that's okay. This is the permission slip that January the 1st does not have to be that elusive date that everything magically shifts. You know, for the majority of, and I'm in this camp also, until the kids go back, we're still very much in holiday mode. Tree decorations are still up. We are still on our holidays because, you know, I want the kids to feel that until they go back, and you might be similar or the same. And until you go back to work and we're back in that routine where the alarm is going off early and we're doing all of the things. And yes, completely normal to put the chocolates away and start to bring some healthier habits into play. But if you're still kind of in that limbo between Christmas and return to work phase, enjoy it. It's going to be over in the next couple of days and we will be right back in the mix. So please remove any overwhelm to keep up with the Joneses or to keep up with whoever's doing what on social media. You know, those women who work with me and those who want to transform this year, you will know that the identity is such a big part of that. And so when I say these things like, you know, enjoy the moment, stay in holiday mode, if you identify as a thriving woman or somebody who leads a healthy lifestyle, that is still going to include getting out and getting a daily walk. It's still going to include working out 3 times a week, drinking enough water on a daily basis. Holiday mode for us women who live a healthy lifestyle is not sitting on the couch with a Domino's and a bottle of wine and watching Netflix all day. That's not holiday mode. It's just a bit more of a state of ease, and maybe we're not as strict with our regimes and our routines. We allow ourselves that little bit of wiggle room before we get right back to it. And if you are a woman between 38 and 50 and you're in that bracket, then I want to talk through why traditional goal setting and that sort of like autopilot goal setting often fails. So first of all, no shock, Sherlock. Hormones have started to change, and our energy and our sleep and our cravings and our stress tolerance, like it's all shifted. And so we've got to take it into account when we think about what do I want to get out of this year. And again, if you're listening to this and you are off the back of a really indulgent Christmas and you just want to know the quickest way to feel at your best, like we just want to know, don't we, how to get back in action. We want to know how to reduce the bloat, how to relieve these couple of extra pounds that we've put on, how to get our energy back, like all of the things. And it feels as though we need that. We just need something to kickstart, is the classic what I hear. Just need something to kickstart, whether it's a detox or a juice diet or something that just feels really hard and restrictive. Just let me do it for the first 7 to 14 days and then I will be on a level playing field. But if you're changing hormonally, you will not be able to tolerate that. That quick fix is going to be more detrimental than ever before. And don't forget, like, you know, our goals, a lot of the time, they don't fail from lack of discipline. It's not because we're not disciplined. It's just because the foundations of what we're doing, they just don't fit real life. They don't fit our lifestyle. They don't fit our changing way of living, the fact that the kids have grown up, the fact that we might be taking care of, aging parents. We might have more pressure on us than ever in work. Hormones have shifted. Time of the month can even make an impact. And so setting these traditional goals in the way that you always have and expecting them to suddenly work when every other year we've stayed on the hamster wheel of the first 3 weeks we've been out the gates, gung-ho, no alcohol, I'm going to do all of the things, no bread. And then by week 3, we hit a brick wall. We're so over it. We need, we tell ourselves, we need to just relax. We need to go back to normal just for a weekend. We're in this all or nothing mindset a lot of the time. So we start January in this real gung-ho way. But often that leads to, so then when we do have a day where it's not perfect or we fall off slightly, we think, I'm just going to enjoy myself. Let me enjoy myself just for this one day, which turns into 2 days, and then I'll get back to it. And honestly, there's the cycle beginning before you've even realised it. So we want to talk about, we want to think about this. We want to think about that extra load that we are now carrying. We want to think about where our all or nothing tendencies tend to come from, whether it's around the weekends, whether it is, when you're around certain people in certain environments. And we want to normalise, ladies. We need to normalise the fact that we have got to consider how we manage our energy. We have to consider as our responsibility getting in great health, as opposed to just how can I lose weight the quickest, because that will always come down to calorie restriction, and that plays a massive part in dropping your body fat. Let's not confuse that. Calorie restriction is ultimately what we need to cause fat loss. However, it's a lot easier to reduce your calories when you are eating in a way that positively fuels your body for performance, for better energy, and aligns with your hormonal profile. So those of you who are just, thinking about counting calories, simple if it fits your macros approach for the month of January, we can still have our bit of chocolate. We're not doing any restrictions, so we can still have our little this and that, and, we can still get our double frappuccino over morning as long as it fits the calories, and like we tell ourselves, as long as it fits the calories. But that is the process that always will have you hitting a brick wall. And so we've got to normalise eating for health. We've got to normalise baseline nutrition, focusing on the clean, healthy, whole foods. Biggest January mistakes that I see is we pick these outcome goals. So we know that we want to be a certain number or a certain dress size, or we want to look a certain way. And we're just not considering our lifestyle. So again, it's something that we can maybe stick to for a short period of time. But then when we come off the plan or the diet, we default back to normal, because the goals that we are setting up for ourselves, they're going to get us to that goal number. They're going to get us to the goal weight on the scales or the dress size or whatever it might be. But we've really had to go against the grain to get there. And so I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, you're following a diet plan. You are being very, very regimented with the way that you eat and your meals, and you're eating differently to all of the family, and the kids are still eating their certain foods for dinner, and hubby's eating one way, and you are just on it. You're on it, and please don't misinterpret this here. As women, we do have to eat differently a lot of the time to our significant other. But I'm talking portion size. I'm not talking a complete different diet. And so when we go back to normal living, normal eating, we just revert back to what works with the family again, rather than, okay, as a household, we're going to smarten things up and we're going to eat a bit healthier. We're going to take care of what we put into our bodies, and that includes the kids. And that is a lifestyle approach. That is like looking at the bigger picture and thinking, okay, how do I make this work as part of a way that we just live as like a normal, this is a normal, typical day and week. I had one of my clients, and she popped into our group community chat over Christmas, that she went out for a family run on Christmas morning, which I just thought was absolutely brilliant. Like, we're not at that stage yet. Isadora is happy to go for a family walk. run, I think, would be a push. But most definitely, like when my girls are a little bit older, like what a gorgeous way to start the day. And it just really had me thinking. And then, all of the other women in the community are chiming in with, I got a workout in on Christmas Day, or I got my steps, right throughout, or whatever it was, the big goal. And it was just so normal for us all to be prioritising moving in order to keep us feeling at our best. And honestly, it was a proud moment as a coach. Like, I was just reading through the community chat and I was like, this is when you know that you've found your people. Like, this is when you know you live a lifestyle, because full permission is granted on Christmas. Full permission is given to relax, reset, recharge, whatever we want to call it, and do you. And the women that I work with were still showing up in ways that you wouldn't believe, because it's so normal to them now. It's just who they are. And it feels so abnormal to some people. There will be definitely women listening to this thinking, oh my goodness me, working out over Christmas and like even considering moving more. And like, trust me, it feels alien until it's not, until it's a part of who you are. And so our goals have got to come with some sort of lifestyle alignment. Again, the amount of women that I work with when they go on holidays or weekends away or whatever, like work trips, like we're looking for a hotel with a gym. You best believe we're looking for a hotel with a gym. Why would we not put ourselves in an environment that allows us to work out and take care of ourselves? And I think some of the grey area on this is that often we work out and we exercise as a form of punishment. We've overeaten, we feel overweight, we feel that we just need to work as hard as we can in order to get back to normal, is what we tell ourselves. And we're not working out to have ourselves feel good. We're not listening to our bodies. We're not working out in a way that aligns with our menstrual cycle. I will have clients work out differently when they're on the menstrual cycle versus when they're in those first 2 weeks of cycle, when we've got more energy and, hormones are more regulated, cravings are lowered. Like, we're just not listening to any of those things. We are just working out as a form of punishment. So to work out on holiday feels so counterintuitive, because we're on holiday to relax. So why would we possibly want to put ourselves through that? Ladies, I want to challenge you to change that way of thinking in 2026. I really do, because it's liberating and it will transform your life. It will transform the way that you live, the way that you think, the way that you show up, the way that you feel in yourself on a day-to-day basis. And it's definitely, it's a method, it's a process. It's taking care of our mindset, our emotional well-being, as well as just looking at calories and, the best exercises to do in the gym. Maximum effort starts in January. I'm so cautious of these maximum effort starts, because what that normally signals is we do everything overnight. Now, you may have heard me talk about this before on the podcast, but if you come into work with me, we start from the ground up. We start foundations, because I want you to build trust in yourself. I want you to realise that the small foundational habits and behaviours, if we start building on these, they become really second nature. They have more influence over our energy and how we feel than we actually realise. Once our energy levels are up, ladies, that's when we can put our foot on the gas. And, we've got to build this trust in ourselves that we can do hard things, and we're not going to fall off the wagon, and we're not going to self-sabotage. And if you start gung-ho, so we're going to reduce calories, we're going to get in the gym, we're going to lift 4 times a week, we are going to get 12,000 steps a day, we're going to, and it's all of the things. At some point, we're going to go off kilter, because for a start, if you cut calories and increase general movement in week 1, somewhere down the line, energy levels are going to massively waver. And what that presents as, what that feels like to us, is cravings. Okay, and sometimes it's hard when you want to drop body fat. Of course, it will feel hard. There are moments when it can feel really hard, but we understand the outcome, and we understand sort of like how to navigate that. But when we start gung-ho and that crash catches up with us, then we instantly feel like we're not cut out for this. We are not cut out for the transformation. Like, how is everybody else doing it? How are they all eating less and moving more and doing all of the things all at once? Well, it was built. It was built over time. And so maximum effort start with no wiggle room, with no accounting for sleep and recovery and stress management and lifestyle is a surefire way to get to the end of January and feel as though you need to hit the restart button again. Changing everything at once does not work. And we can speak about this separately, or, if you've not yet entered into the Thriving Women community, please come in and say hi. I talk a lot about this in just building from the ground up, the non-negotiable worksheets. There's a lot of free resources that you'll find inside of Thriving Women where you can just at least give yourself a bit of a ballpark, excuse me, put your teeth in, Nick, to just work upwards from. So what actually works, and this is the Thrive Lifestyle approach, and this is the approach that I've taken for as long as I can remember, and that I have all of my clients follow, and that is, first of all, identity-based goals matter. So I want you to think about, who do I want to become this year? And write this down. Who am I working to become? How do I want to show up for my kids, show up for myself, show up for my partner? What energy do I want to attract when I walk into a room? What energy do I want to give off? How do I want to dress? What do I want to be able to do? And that might be run. It might be going to the gym with confidence. It might be wearing a bikini for the first time on the beach. But who do I want to become? And I know for me, I can't remember how many years I'm going back here, but I really thought on this question and I got really clear on who it is that I wanted to become, and a lot of what I was currently doing and the way I was behaving and the way I was showing up and my lack of self-confidence, it just wasn't aligning with this version of myself, and it took the work. But when we identify who is that woman, and you've got to picture it, like, this is not just a listen to this, think on it for 30 seconds and then go away and carry on with normal life. This is the question that you constantly ask yourself, whether it's before you go to a social occasion, or maybe at the start of each week, or even at the start of a gym session when you don't feel like you want to work out. Okay, but I want to normalise being that woman who trains consistently, whether she feels like it or whether she doesn't, because I hear on social media all of these women telling me that it's not about motivation, and yet I only work out when I feel like it. But I've promised myself that I want to identify as the woman who gets it done, whether or not she feels like it this year. So I'm sat in the car outside the gym and I'm just going to go in and do it. And I'm not going to promise myself that it's going to be personal best or the best session of the week. But this is who I'm working to become. This is my identity now. So the motivation isn't here, but that's okay, because that was old me and I've evolved from that version of myself. And now I am identifying as the woman who goes to the gym, and it's okay to not be full of beans and hyper motivated at every session. I'm often not, by the way, ladies. I have to have this pep talk with myself all of the time, but that is a big one when it comes to goal setting. I want you to think, who do I want to become? Because when we get clear on that, and be big and bold with your answers on this one, do not minimize yourself, do not make yourself small or shrink yourself to fit the narrative of what you think will be accepted. Who do you want to become? We can backwards engineer everything from there, because it's all achievable, it's all available to us, but we've got to get clear on the direction that we're going in before we can understand the strategy that we want to follow to get there. And again, this is going to require blocking out a bit of the noise. I want you to start with energy. So this is massively overlooked, and it's probably the biggest starting point for all of my thriving women. And that is, I work with you as your coach to get your energy levels up in these first couple of weeks working together. Now, are the scales going to shift in that process? Yes, very, very highly likely that the scales are going to shift. Sleep is going to improve. Confidence is going to improve. The way that you eat obviously has to alter if we are going to improve our energy levels. But once your energy levels are up, you hold yourself differently, you move differently, and the rest will follow. We are so much better able to follow through on the decisions and the habits and the behaviours that we've promised if we can wake up with good energy and if we can sustain energy. Sustaining energy is one of the biggest struggles that I see. So you might get up, you get the coffee, you feel as though, right, I've got my energy for the day, bingo. And then we get to 2:30 and you crash. And that's the downward spiral every day, because we allow a bit of chocolate in, but we tell ourselves, it's okay, I'm just going to make this fit my calories. It's fine. I've not gone off course. It's a bit of chocolate, 2:30. I'm flexible diet and it's all good. And then we get to 4:00 and we're crashing again, because that 2:30 fix has, is impacted more of a crash. Before you know it, we get home, we are eating off the kids' plates. We're not going to the gym the way that we said that we would. We're feeling like we've just wasted the whole day now. We started so strong, but then we crashed at 2:30 and it's been a downward spiral since there. And the last meeting of the day was so stressful. And oh my gosh, I'm looking at a watch and I've definitely not drank enough water. There's the overwhelm. There's the mental overwhelm, self-talk, self-sabotage is all kicking in. Now we're at the point where, okay, I'm going to start again tomorrow. Like, I can't salvage this now. I've just set myself back. The cycle continues. You get up the next day, we get the coffee, we've got the energy. That's false economy, false energy. I don't know what we want to call it. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to show you how to positively impact your natural energy. Ladies, I've said this many a times. We are not built to be running on empty. We're not built to be walking around with these overthinking minds and feeling anxious and feeling fearful and craving and constantly feeling burnt out. So if that's how you feel, then you're just out of alignment with what you are built for. And don't fear that, because underneath all of that excess overwhelm, there is a version of you who is ready to thrive. Mark my words. There is a version of you who is ready to thrive. She's already there, but we just need to peel back the layers. And sometimes, and again, we make these goals that don't line up with our lifestyle, and we're not thinking about our identity. We're not starting with energy first. We're just starting with, as low calories as we can go and as high energy as we can go in the gym. And like, we're confused, we're overwhelmed, and it's taking us further and further away from thriving because mentally we feel defeated. Non-negotiables is another big one, ladies, to get you started and to really lock in these next couple of days before the routine resumes, before you're ready to put your foot on the gas, and even whilst you are still thinking on those bigger goals, think about your non-negotiables and just, pick 2 or 3. Again, go over to our Thriving Women community. The link is in my bio, ladies, for the free community and then also the group coaching side. Just pick 2 to 3. It might be protein in each meal. It might be that you get your steps. It might be that you apply a no screen time after 9 p.m. It might be your water. It might be social media breaks. Choose the non-negotiables that feel challenging but doable is what I would say. They should feel challenging enough because we know that we want to create change, but they are doable. They're doable whether we wake up late or whether we've had a spanner thrown in the works. It's drinking water, it's getting our steps, it's reducing our screen time. Like, it's doable stuff. We just need to make sure that we are going to commit to those non-negotiables. And again, that in itself, as simple as it sounds, can be enough to put us in bed each night and just feel accomplished, which is a big part of I can do this. We have to give ourselves the opportunity first and foremost to feel accomplished. Reducing friction is a big one. So I'll give you an example of this. Okay, the eating differently to the rest of the family can be a real cause of friction for a lot of women. The kids are eating chicken nugget and chips and you're sat there with your plain chicken, broccoli and rice. Well, what are the chances that in the back of your mind you're thinking, please let the kids leave some of their chips because I just need to taste a chip. I've been on this stupid diet all week and I just want to have a little bite of that chicken nugget or piece of pizza or whatever it is. Okay. So first of all, there's friction there. You know, you're putting yourself in a position where you want the result so badly that you are willing to completely misalign with what the rest of the family are doing, but then you continue to give yourself that little grey area. Another like source of friction just related to nutrition around your home. One of the things that I done over Christmas, and again, you'll be able to relate this to your setup. So we always have a bowl on the dining table filled with chocolates, like a Father Christmas bowl. And this year I just decided we're not going to do it. We've done it for one day. So all of the chocolate that comes into the house, and there is a lot. Oh my gosh, we have got chocolate to last us until Easter. Kids are finally at that age now where everyone bought them a selection box, which I'm so grateful for the generosity. But anyway, the Father Christmas bowl. So every time the kids go into the dining room, they see chocolates is the first thing that they see. The kids want to eat chocolate all day, and obviously for myself and the hubby, the chocolates are just there in eye shot. Now, I don't want the kids powering on chocolate. I know it was Christmas and all of the things, but I don't care. Like, again, as a family, we have standards for what we allow into our bodies. So without the kids realising, I just removed the chocolates from the dining table, okay, and I just put them out of sight. And we were still having them on like family games night, and kids were still eating plenty of chocolate, believe you me. But for me and the hubs, they just weren't the first thing that we see when we go into the dining room, because that is just removing friction. If I'm trying to reduce my chocolate intake, I don't want to have chocolate in my eyesight every time I walk into the dining room. Like, it's testing my willpower at every opportunity. And so there'll be things in your home, in your household, that will be exactly the same. And it might be the moment that you open the cupboard, like the goodies box, if you've got one in your house, you know, with the crisps and whatever else, is right in front of you, or the chocolates are still left out, or the alcohol is still in eyesight, or your gym clothes are like bloody tightly tucked away in the very back of the cupboard, or your running trainers haven't been seen you know, for the last couple of weeks, or whatever it might be. We need to remove the friction, and we need to create an environment that accommodates our new or our evolving habits, behaviours, and just the identity of the woman that we want to become. And we've got to think about, could I do this on my busiest week? When we think about the non-negotiables and the removing the friction and, you know, the identity-based goals, we've got to think about, could I achieve this on my busiest week? This is a big one, because again, that first couple of weeks in January, even if they are our busiest weeks, we can force ourselves to go against the grain. Like, motivation for most is high, and social pressure, and, you know, we're so over the indulgence of Christmas that we can force ourselves round peg into a square hole, or whatever. I think it's the other way around, but anyway, we can do that for a short period of time. But I want you to really think, could I do this on my busiest week sustainably? Now, every single week is not going to be the busiest week, so that's okay. But I want you to think on that one, because it has to be sustainable. And again, it just has to fit with a lifestyle. So the mindset reset for January, ladies, just to round up this week's podcast, which I feel has been a little all over, maybe, with the information. I'm trying to reduce the overwhelm and cut through the BS. And I'm going to be one of many coaches that you'll potentially listen to this week, one of many podcasts, one of many social media channels that you follow, which you're invested in improving your health. You want to feel at your best. But I want you to think about true transformation. And I actually would love you to think about what really matters most to you. Who are you as a woman? And take yourself back to when you were a little girl if you need to, and think, what are the things that light me up? What makes me happy? What brings me joy? Where do I find happiness and excitement? And what do I want for myself? And we've got to switch off the noise in order to really tune into that, because again, we can find ourselves just comparing to what everybody else is setting as their goals. I've definitely done this before. I've saved influencers' top tricks and tried to follow them myself and try to plug them all in. That's not my goals. That's somebody else's goals. And I'm just hoping that I'm going to get their shiny outcome on the other side of plugging in all of their top tricks. And yes, on some degree, like we need to be, sometimes we need to be given a bit of a roadmap, and that's part of what coaching is. However, coaching is, it's give and take. It's a two-way conversation. It's understanding my client's real motive and reason why, and again, stage in life. And we've got to be willing to think bigger picture for ourselves. Like, we owe it to ourselves to come off this autopilot of copying what everyone else does and tune into what matters most to me. And if it is, I just want to lose weight, Nick. I just want to lose weight once and for all. Okay. Question I want you to ask. What is consistently keeping me stuck? Where am I struggling most? I guarantee, I'm going to be bold on this, and I guarantee that the vast majority, it will be a mental block. I do a lot of work with my clients on mental fitness, because we've got to stay ahead of this one. Again, we've got this ability to compare ourselves all of the time and consume this vast amount of information. So mentally, we've got to be so switched on to, our roadmap, our needs, our lifestyle, the direction that we're going in. But I want you to think about what's holding me back. If I'm getting to every January and I'm still in the same position where I feel as though, I've just got that bit of back fat and I don't feel as though I'm in the shape that I'd love to be in. And maybe that's just not meant for me. Like, we've got that voice in the back of our mind that tells us, do you know what? You're not doing too bad. Maybe you're not meant to be in great shape. Do not don't convince yourself that it's not doable for you, ladies. But we've just got to, we've got to peel it back, and we've got to stop looking at everybody else's goals and think of our own. So remember that January is not a race. It would be nice to get off to a nice start and to start to build in some healthy habits and start to build in some momentum. Please follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I'll be sharing plenty on there, as I do all of the time, on stories about, maybe just some of the things that I see benefit the women that I work with, particularly around nutrition. I'm always in the supermarkets trying to dig out the best finds for us, the best foods that maybe support a healthier body. Remember that consistency beats intensity, ladies. I cannot drum this one home enough. Do not come out of the gates all guns blazing, feeling like that is the only way to transform, and we've got to be harsh and strict on ourselves, and we've almost got to punish ourselves. Consistency will beat intensity. Think of, like, zoom out 52 weeks of the year we've got in front of us. Where can we just build some routine? Start slow. Momentum will build the motivation. The motivation that you are looking for will come in abundance once you pick up momentum. Because once you start to feel the ball rolling, you start to feel like, oh yeah, okay, energy's up, scales are going down, I'm sleeping better, I'm just feeling so much better about myself. I'm actually looking forward to getting my workout. Okay, that's the motivation. That's when we get excited to wake up the next day and do more of the same. And it's the habits. It's the daily habits that we can plug in versus these like sprints of, all or nothing. Those short sprints often come with this bout of feeling like we're off the wagon. And again, ultimately it keeps us stuck and slows down our progress, sabotages our mindset, can slow down our metabolic rate. We just want to build in these sustainable habits. So if you know that you need support, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but I don't know what starting small feels like. It feels too small because I only know all or nothing. So I'm either on a diet and I'm restricting everything, or I'm in full-blown holiday mode. I've never approached from a lifestyle perspective before. Then please reach out, drop me a message, drop me an email, message me on Instagram. Make this the year that you actually go for it. I had a woman reach out to me in December and she said, okay, I'm going to send you this message, Nick. I'm going to make sure that I hit send because I am so quick to talk myself out of anything. And I have been telling myself for years that I want to transform. I'm not talking weeks, I'm talking years. And I have to make this happen for myself. So I'm sending you this message before. And Sure enough, we got into conversation back and forth, and she started talking herself out of it. And I'm not going to be the coach that will pussyfoot around. I said to her, you've already told me that your Achilles is that you talk yourself out of things, and you're doing it right now. And, we're now working together, and she's already off the ground running. She came into the community in December, hats off. But if you know that you've never taken a lifestyle approach before, it can feel, I don't know whether too good to be true is the way to put it, but it feels as though it's not enough. Like we want to be shown what to eat, how to train, what to do. We need black and white. But ladies, you've got to be realistic. This is life. It's happening to us. It's, every day is an opportunity to either get in the driver's seat or stay on autopilot, and that's a decision. And once you get in the driver's seat and you choose to transform, and it becomes a way of living, and it consumes less of your headspace, you're not overthinking all of the time, every mouthful, or what your body weighs, or whether or not you're going to fit into the outfit by the weekend. Like once you give yourself freedom from that because you are so aligned with this healthier lifestyle, trust me, that is when we realize our potential. And so whether it's group coaching or one-to-one coaching that you feel that you might benefit from, please drop me a message. Please come and see us inside of Thriving Women. The link is also in the show notes. And I will look forward to catching up with you all on next week's episode. And if you're yet to choose your goals, if you've listened to this and you've made a few mental notes, and maybe you'll drop me a message on Instagram, and please let me know if you found any value from this week's episode. But please remember to choose the goals that respect your reality and think about the woman that you are becoming. Please share this episode if you feel that you know somebody who will benefit from also listening, maybe altering their way of thinking. And as always, ladies, I appreciate anyone who subscribes, likes, shares the podcast, sends me a message. And I will look forward to catching up with you all on next week's episode.